Our final speaker, please welcome co-founder of Common Goal, Thomas Preiss.
Hello, everybody. I will be speaking about Common Goal, and we're starting out with a short clip that will introduce what Common Goal is all about.
There are two worlds of football. The first is my world, our world. The world of professional football. This is the superstar players, the sold-out stadiums, the spectacular goals. This is where champions are made and legends are born. It's the football we know and love. But it's not the whole story. There is another world that exists outside of ours. A world in which football is not just a game. It is a tool to support those less fortunate than us. This world is not about winning or raising trophies. In this world, their world, football carries a different meaning.
Para mí es respeto, buena comunicación y amistad.
Spaß, Respekt und Fairplay.
Respeto, valor y amor, porque el fútbol es amor.
The idea is simple. We pledge 1% of our salaries to a collective fund, and Common Goal allocates this fund to football-based projects that make a real difference.
Football reduces racism and make us one family.
और बहुत कॉन्फिडेंस आ गया कि लोगों के सामने बात कर सके, अच्छा से डर खत्म हो गया.
No hay fronteras entre género, al contrario, acogernos en grupo y empezar a jugar ese lindo juego.
I'm different because I can now stand before people and talk, because I know about being courageous just because of football.
It is a small commitment that drives big change and ensures that every time we celebrate, they do too.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you. So as you've seen from the video, Common Goal is really about connecting two different worlds of football. The first world being the world where football generates revenue, the football industry. And the second world being the world that I'm coming from, and many of you are coming from, is the world where football creates social transformation. We're forging this link between two worlds through a 1% pledge. So that's our way to make giving back, to make social responsibility part of the business model of football. Now, before I go into the question answering why is this innovative and why can this be considered, in fact, an investment in football, I want to give a little bit more context and take you on the journey of how this came all about. So this venture Common Goal, this initiative Common Goal, which we started this summer, is built on the foundation of Street Football World, a global collective of NGOs using the sport football for social transformation. So it's about tackling social challenges such as HIV/AIDS or education, lack of access to education. It's about promoting gender equality. It's about peace building and justice. So these are all goals reflected in our global agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals. Today, this collective is 124 organizations operating out of 80 countries around the world, aligned behind a shared vision. So it's 15 years of groundwork, and this sector now knows what quality in terms of implementation means, and knows that it can achieve so much more collectively. But we're not happy with what we have today. It's 2.5 million youth that are being empowered through these programs, through these organizations, but we know that football, the most popular sport on the planet, can do so much more. So the question becomes, how do you scale that impact? And in parallel to this development, the development of football for good, we have seen a tremendous development of the football economy. So there's steady double-digit growth, increasing revenues from new broadcast deals and new social media monetary options, and tremendous popularity of those who are at the heart of the game, in particular the players. Some of them having social media followerships larger than entire populations of countries. So there we see the opportunity and thought, what needs to happen to scale to get from the 2.5 million to 10 million to 20 million and really unleash football as a force for global transformation, we need to establish this link. And so this summer, we started out, not quite the right slide, with Juan Mata, who had been an ambassador for the organization for 1 year, as the first one having the courage to make this commitment and to lead with the 1% pledge, challenging his peers in the football industry to follow his example. Now, it happened so that the day we announced, the football world also saw the biggest transfer in history of football. It was Neymar transferring from Barcelona to Paris Saint-Germain. And this became quite a story in the media, picked it up as a counter-narrative to the development that we're seeing in football, the increasing commercialization in football, and the disenchantment that we as fans have with the development in terms of losing touch with reality. Over the last couple of months, we saw 34 players joining from 17 nationalities with a social media ship of over 100 million. And it really shows that the 1% is a framework that's inclusive. It's a framework that can work for everybody. It works for a Champions League player like Juan Mata or Mats Hummels, but we also have 1/3 females as part of our team who earn a fraction of their male counterparts. In some instances, we have one girl playing the 3rd division English female football, also giving and pledging the 1%. We started with the players, and there was a massive media reaction to this proposition to football, to this vision for football that we shared with the world. And now we're facing a situation where there is a real opportunity to turn awareness, mass awareness, into mass participation. So we have players advocating for the cause and wanting to see this change. We have also fans wanting to see this change. And it has now reached also the highest level of football with the governing bodies. So for us, it's about bringing together what was started out as a bottom-up movement, as a players-driven movement, and continuing it as a bottom-up movement, but then also thinking about the big change lever, which is the top-down approach and the governing bodies, moving towards making the 1% a standard across the industry. So our vision for Common Goal is to unlock 1% of every euro generated in football for the social dimension of the game. And this can only be achieved through multi-stakeholder collaborations. So it's the players coming together with the institutions where the 1% can equally be applied, in this case to revenues, it's the football fans that already demonstrate that they want to be part of this and see this change. And it also provides tremendous opportunities for brands. So why is Common Goal innovative and can be considered an investment? Before I go into the business return, I want to start emphasizing that radical collaboration and multi-stakeholder collaboration just makes so much sense from a social impact perspective. Of course, in football, the greatest successes are achieved by teams. And we believe the same holds true for social impact. It's also a team game. If you compare a situation where 100 million are invested by 100 isolated initiatives with no shared agenda versus a scenario where the same pool of money is invested with a shared strategy and a shared vision behind it, you will see that the collaborative approach generates a much bigger social return of investment. Second is branding and the reputation of football, the football brand. So even though we see steady growth in terms of revenues, we see a massive decline in trust. So there was a recent study in the UK publishing that 36% of consumers don't trust the sport at all. And many are communicating that they're upset by how money in football is having a detrimental effect on the game. In many instances, it's not the real experience that it once was. So we believe football is in a position where it really needs to safeguard its reputation and make sure it maintains a special and meaningful relationships with those who consume the sport. Now, Common Goal is proposing a vision to connect the commercial development to a deeper sense of purpose. It's about turning arguably one of the biggest cultural forces on our planet in a mass tool for social transformation and doing so collectively. So we really think or experience that this is a vision that just resonates with people. So for those joining, the brands joining, the players joining, is a great opportunity to demonstrate their realness and to reconnect and reestablish a more meaningful connection to their audiences, their consumers. Beyond that, obviously, it's also a way to tap into the brand equity that Common Goal has created over the past 4 months, the global awareness that it has raised, and an opportunity for brands to affiliate themselves with indirectly with leading players like Juan Mata, Mats Hummels, Alex Morgan, etc. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is growth. Growth, on the one hand, triggered by this reputational benefit and by the enhancement of the football brand, by reconnecting to the fans. But also growth, if you think about it, the kinds of programs that are part of street football world, running social development through football, they are speaking to an audience, a bottom billion of people that is not reached through associated football. So we have 1 million people worldwide living in poverty that are not participating at all in the football economy. So what these programs are also doing is they take young people on a path out of poverty to improve living conditions, and they're achieving it through football itself. So that, if you do it at an industry scale, is also tapping into a new group of consumers, because those whose lives are transformed through the game are very likely to actually then participate also in the football economy. So Common Goal is about transforming an industry for good and changing our world. Thank you very much.